So the conversation you've been waiting for. Now, when the roll was called on January 7th, 2013, 35-year-old Alexander Kwame Afenyo-Markin took his seat to represent the people of Fitu in the Central Region in the 6th Parliament of Ghana. His background in financial law got him a seat on the famous Finance as well as the Defense and Interior Committees of Parliament. In his 11 years as a legislator, he helped shape various bills, introduce amendments, fought and won several cases at the Supreme Court when the Constitution of Ghana was in danger of being breached. He was appointed Deputy Majority Leader in the 8th Parliament and will lead to end the life of this Parliament as the Majority Leader and Leader of the House. Now, today I'm privileged to have Alexander Afenyo-Markin, the man who started life as a Principal Postal Officer at the Ghana Post Company Limited, to the Futu Municipal Assembly as Assembly Member for Kojo Bedu Electoral Area, and later presiding member in his 20s, former board chair of the Ghana Water Company, and now at age 46, leads Ghana's Parliament as a Majority Leader. Alex, welcome.
Thank you, Alton.
It's a pleasure to have you here.
Oh, my dear. Thank you for having me. Let our viewers know that you are part of those who nurtured me in Parliament, and I appreciate all that you did in my early days in the House. You were such a great journalist. You and Richard Sky and our brother, Listo Fojo, your combined effect.
Who is now a lawyer.
Yes, indeed. Your combined effect made a positive impact. So thank you to Multimedia for bringing you to Parliament and for making some of us better politicians. I appreciate that a lot, and I want to say that for the records. Thank you, Alton.
I appreciate your kind
words. Bosom brother. Thank you.
All right. So this week you've been talking and making the point. I mean, after your ascension to the role of Majority Leader. I mean, did you see it coming?
Well, I did not. Like I said in my opening speech, MPP is a big party with a lot of talent, a lot of professionals, great minds, and even if you dream to do something, you can only rely on the grace of God. So I think divinity and the cosmic masters themselves conspired positively in my favor, and I'm grateful to the Lord God Almighty, great architect of the universe, for those favors received. You remember that in opposition we worked so hard.
Right.
And when we had the opportunity to be in government, I lost out in government. No appointment in the executive, and in Parliament, even committees, I was not in leadership. And here we were, some of our new entrants were getting cabinet jobs, some new entrants were my seniors at committee, and I was Bob No rank. I was sent to ECOWAS Parliament. There too, there was a whole brouhaha.
Yeah,
you had to resign.
You had to step down for somebody else to take over
Ghana
the position,
to be sworn in, because we were 9 instead of 8, because there was an internal crisis that had its own carry forward there. And I came back home, and so dejected, so depressed, and my good friend and uncle or dad and senior brother Kennedy Japan saw me at the car park, you know, say, hey, what's wrong with you? Take it easy. This is life. And drove me to his house, what we call the midnight tea, which code I have today decoded. And we sat together, we spoke to me up to 2 a.m. and made an offer that, look, I know you have your businesses down. If you want to revive some of your businesses, I have some good capital for you. And then as you make your profit, you pay me back. I'll give you that offer. Forget about the political job and focus on that. So that was how it started. I had to focus on my business, my law practice, and chamber work.
But I know, for example, that even before you went into politics, you were a very successful businessman.
Yeah, I was running Bauxite.
I was a courier service, your law firm.
We were doing Ghana Bauxite. I was doing Bauxite shipment from Awasu to Takoradi, and I was doing manganese. For Bauxite, I was the main transporter service provider.
You were in your 20s even at that time.
I remember I went to Epany in France to buy trailers, and the manufacturer asked me whether I was managing my father's business, and whether
you came with your father,
whether I was a heir apparent, and I said no, that's my business, and they were shocked. It's still the grace of God, and we were working for Ghana magazines, and then also when these Indians came with diamond cement, we were hauling for their limestone for them from Tablibo in Togo to Aflao, and then from Aflao to Bupe, and then we were taking their clinker from Takoradi to Bupe, and then doing Aflao to Takoradi. It was such an experience where you have to be trailing your drivers, following them. That time we didn't have tracking device, so everything was manual.
You had to do it yourself.
We had to.
And the business took a nose because of politics?
Partially. I mean, because when I got into politics, I remember when I got elected as an assemblyman and subsequently becoming a presiding member, Standard Chartered Bank had given me some $4 million facility, and they had bought some trucks for me. So I think one morning, one of their officers said he saw my poster, my poster on one of the
trucks.
One of the buses at Kanishi, the Winneba Accra buses. It had my poster, and then he took a picture and sent it to the office. So I remember at the time they said I was a politically exposed person because we have given you a loan and you are also doing politics. So it was Alex Mould who intervened because the meetings were held in Alex's office. He was the head of the department, and some guys were pushing that they should call in the facility. So I remember Alex Mould would invite me, say, young man, why don't you stop the assemblyman? I said, but it doesn't have any effect on my business. I'm running the business, I'm paying my facility. Eventually, I was not successful. They downgraded my account to GSAM. In StanChart then, I don't know whether it's there now. If your account is in distress, they now downgrade you to a different department. So you are no more part of the corporate stream.
Right.
So a different department will manage you where you have to give an account of every expenditure. So when your revenue comes, you need to justify why they should give you this money. But that situation rather got worse. And I remember Mele Newman did very well. Mele, thank you, Mele. She did so well, was managing me and Estelle and co. We were having back and forth. Then eventually, the group head for West Africa, Buba Jene, said, look, young man, we'll try and help you, but pay your facility. So we're on and on and on until the trucks give up. And I think when I eventually got elected as a member of parliament, these drivers, there's this Ghanaian attitude towards business, employment. They really don't care, and they mess it up. But be it as it may, we are here. And I think I was also hauling for Guinness, my flatbeds. I was a major transporter for Guinness Ghana Limited, So when I became an MP, drivers would go and they would park the truck somewhere, steal some of the drinks. And then when you come, Guinness, when they are paying you, they deduct it.
All those things.
I saw. So we're losing money. And then these Chinese people who do holiday, import tiles and all that, we're hauling for them in Tema to their Malam office. I've forgotten their name. They have an office at Malam, so the warehouse there. So we got over 200 trucks, yes. And I think Intercontinental also bought some trucks for me. NIB bought some trucks. But in all of these, one person that I must mention, Mr. Amwabi, he...
Formerly of UT Bank.
UT Bank, yes. We did some business with UT Financial Services. And Mr. Amwabi was a true father to me. He understood my situation. He called me one day to ask me a lot of questions. He said, why do you like politics? He speaks Fanti with me. And I answered, he looked at me, said, you this young man, you are brave. Anyway, when I was in distress, he said, look, I won't take you to court, but I'll give you the chance to pay. Put in place some measures. And then they appointed
an auditor to look at your books.
Yes, to look at us, and we work together. I've had a fair share of life's crisis. I've learned a lot. I've made some very silly mistakes, terrible mistakes, because in life, if you don't start with a mentor, you don't have a godfather, and everything is on your own, you're likely to make a lot of mistakes.
Because
I didn't have one. So I suffered a lot.
So you think your calling is business or politics? Because clearly you seem to you were doing very well in business before you ventured into politics.
And made good money. Made good money. All right. I think what even took me to the law school was an accident I had at La Palma. You know, I was driving in my Mercedes, you know, on the La road, and a woman crossed me, and then while she was apologizing, 2 little kids in her car. One, I presume, was 8, the other 10, and while their mom was pleading, one said, "Hey, if you don't stop what you're doing," no, I was insisting that the woman should fix my car.
Okay.
It's a Mercedes, you know, a young man in my early 20s.
Because she caused the accident.
She crossed me. She did a U-turn, you know, from the.
Oh, she was driving.
Yeah, she was driving. Okay. When she was coming from the trade fair line, the Regimanuel, that U-turn that used to be there. And then one of the girls said, "Our uncle is a lawyer, so if it goes to court, you lose." The other one said, "Our grandmother is a judge." I was heartbroken.
So the case had been decided there.
I was heartbroken. And I realized that life was not all about money. So I just drove off, got to my residence. I mean, wept a bit. And I said, look, at that time I had left Kivaz and I'd abandoned school. And I was doing business. So I said, I need to go to school. All right?
And that's
where I applied and I got back to Buckingham. And then I said, I will do law. You know. And also when you're a businessman, you walk around, people don't respect you. They think that you are rich, you are not wise, you are not smart. You know, a lot of businessmen who are not too educated are looked down upon. So it's like, when you scar, you know, say when you scar, and I want to go to school. So that thing also hit me hard. And I said, no, I will. But for the politics itself, I don't think I had planned my life around politics. It was my classmates who accosted me when I was in final year. And then at that time, I think Yamo Kufuor was our candidate in Winneba MPP, and he had stepped down. And then it was a Friday or so. I was preparing to fly to UK, you know, final year. And then they came and said, you know, all our colleagues are saying you should stand. The polling station chairman called us that. At that time, I was a financial
And this was the parliamentary primary?
Yes.
Okay.
The 2041. So they stopped me from going, and I followed through. And eventually, when all was cooked, the elders of Winneba said, you are too young, you are a small boy, you can't
represent us in parliament.
And we settled the matter in Kufuor's office at the castle. And I think Kufuor had almost judged the thing for me. And one elderly man said, Mr. President, only a school. Because the president was addressing me lawyer. Then he asked, so you are not done with school? I said, yes. How do you come to parliament and go to school? And you are not even studying in Ghana. So no.
Go and finish your school.
I wept bitterly. I was on the floor rolling, crying, and, you know, all manner of things. Then later I was asked by an elderly person, Mr. Yebi Hanks, the former chairman of the party, to participate in assembly elections. That was in the 2006 elections. And that one too, it was like they were so much against me, the attacks, the insults. So I left. And then my colleagues decided to take the form, get my picture, scan it, and put it on it. And they campaigned for me in absentia. So I was somewhere in Awaso doing my box site. And then they did all the posters, Gabi, Nana Sante, Mike, Alaji, Amafati, Dasibre of blessed memory, all those, the guys I grew up with in the community, they did it. And then I won in absentia. And then I became a presiding member and all. But really in school, my plan was to, do business, get called to the bar, become a judge. I wanted really to be at the bench.
Okay.
As for this politics,
it came along the way.
Part of me at all. Okay. On campus, I was rather pushing others into leadership, but I never contested for any student leadership role. I was rather supporting, the people. I never thought I would get.
So here you are today, from backbencher and now at the front bench, leading the majority side in parliament, leading parliament as a whole as leader of the house. But your upgrade from deputy to majority leader was not without controversy. But we had heard rumors that the party had decided to make some changes at the front bench. And then some members on the majority side, including the first deputy speaker, held a news conference to say that they were never in support of any changes in parliament. The next day, there was a meeting at Jubilee House. The meeting ended with you as the new majority leader. Do you think your ascension was skewed? Was there a coup d'etat that made you leapfrog your boss to become the majority leader?
Well. MPP is a big party, and when decisions are being made, I'm sure people make their input. But I don't think people have really paid attention to Joe Wise's
news conference.
You see, he said, and I try to pay attention to language. He said the caucus had confidence in its leadership. The caucus was unaware of any such changes, and that if any of such should happen, it will be announced. I mean, I think in all fairness, he made a point, all right? You know, political decisions are taken by the major stakeholders in consultation. So you yourself, who may be in the picture, may not know. But I think that my boss, Chairman Sabonso, had taken time to groom me enough, sufficiently to assume this role, because he was the first to tell me that if we are Unyome here, you can become the leader of the party.
Okay.
And that was his first time, the first travel he had with me to Hanoi, Vietnam in 2014. And he repeated it when we got to Kenya and we were in a long transit. You know, we were waiting for almost about 24 hours for our flight to connect to Ghana. And subsequently, he actually got me to pay attention to the rules book. And anytime he had called me, he would tell me to check a particular provision in the standing orders. And whilst we were at the front seat, the whole period, although I'm a lawyer, and he is not, but the man is more than a lawyer. He's a whole institution, his appreciation of the law. You realize that he also gave me the space to function. Some leaders will not, but when it comes to the issues of law, he will prepare me. In fact, let me give it out to him. He will prepare me. I will go to him in the morning. He said, my deputy, and he would address me as Bishop. He said, Bishop, say this.
Why Bishop?
That's our code.
Okay.
Say this. Put it this way. So we are. Now what can he say? Now we could go to way. Now for sure. Now for until okay. Make sure. Try it. You know, I think during the Ken Must Go, that was a defining moment. I was so tense because Parliament was packed, and I saw the weight of the party on me. You know, when you see the big lawyers behind you, you have Atachia, Katie Amon. You have Joe Wise himself seated there. You have Amayo Cheme. You have Anyimedu. You have the Rose Minister himself.
Right.
Okay? Amwakwata. You have Joe Gate, former Attorney General. And these are big guys. Seniors at the bar. So I said, oh my God, help me. So I was just praying my mantra, and he gave me the confidence. He said, Deputy, do it this way. So he had prepared the notes, and the whole Parliament was packed, and the nation was expecting the party to rescue the finance minister, because we also had some internal upheavals.
Of course, your own caucus are taking a decision
so
that they should go.
We had to fight. And you know, when you are good in procedural jurisprudence, you would always have your way. So fortunately, we realized that there were a few, loopholes in the application of the applicants, and we exploited it. And here we go. We got what we wanted. We got the full hearing for him, and the man was able to come out to state his side of the story. So that was the rescue number one. And rescue number two was when the report came to the floor, and the report could not indict him, and some of the applicants themselves openly said, indeed, they could not get anything to indict. I said, come on, oh la la, then we can go with it. If you could not indict him for wrongdoing, then the man is free to go. And that experience was actually catapulted by my boss, Chairman Sabonso.
But nevertheless, I mean, what kind of relationship exists between you and Che? Is it acrimonious?
No.
Is it friendly? Are you leading a caucus that is united behind you?
We had a good caucus meeting yesterday. We are good. He's still teaching me. Like when the president came, though I'd gone through the precedents, I'd watched some footages of the past, I still felt that I needed to seek guidance.
This is the State of the Nation address?
Yeah, the State of the Nation address on Tuesday. I felt that I still needed guidance. So I went to him, and then we spoke. And then when we came to the floor, I was still tensed. You know, uneasy is the head that is carrying every load, okay? And I know my backbench. I know my back.
You've been in Parliament for over 11 years. These things will come naturally.
No, but that is different. It's one thing doing your advocacy, and another thing carrying the ultimate responsibility. So I went back to him again, and as I said, so what do we do when Mr. President is done? Definitely, Ato will punch us, and mine would be just to move the motion. So should I just move the motion, or create some theatrics? You know, choreograph something that our communicators will also take along. So he gave me the guide that look at here, there, and then use that to get a space. At least they will have the final bite, but at least would have also gone home with something. I said, all right. So if you watch the video, he was very quiet. He had his fingers on his lips, saying that, is my boy going to make it or not? Okay. And when we finished, I said, how did you say? Super, thank you. Then I thanked him. And yesterday, he guided me. He said, look, we needed to consider some few bills, certain things that we need to do. So I think the transition is good. So far, so good. It's whether or not the caucus will be united behind me would be dependent on my behavior.
On what you do.
And attitude, posture.
And you are not just leader of your caucus, also leader of Parliament.
Right.
Which means that you are carrying the entire house along with you.
So I told my colleagues opposite that previously I was playing number 5. So if you come, I hit you. But now I'm playing number 9. If I don't take care, you hit me. So a good striker would always play it safe. So if now I'm a striker, I should be able to, engage than that abrasive approach. I cannot use abrasiveness to survive. No, you can't do that. In the middle bench, as a deputy, as a whip, you can engage in pound for pound. Like today in the morning, there was so much pound for pound. I said, oh my God.
About the energy and other issues.
In the morning in Parliament this morning.
But again,
we're receiving some punches. But
all right.
I could not, because you can't.
But Honorable Afenyo-Markin, you are very close to Kennedy Japan.
Yes.
Now, last week or last 2 weeks, you had to intervene between him and a member of Parliament for English amount from Sylvester 30. And, I mean, your intervention led to what could have become, blows on the floor whilst business was being conducted on the floor of Parliament. What was the issue?
You want us to discuss?
Of course, we're on live television.
Really? Isn't it the case that there are some unknown knowns and some unknown unknowns? I mean, I think that's it. I mean, what is important is that whatever it was, we reconcile. As to the details of it, let's keep the skeletons where they are and live with it. It's okay.
Some say that it had to do with some money that needed to be paid.
You are saying, I don't know about it, Elton. What you are saying, I don't know. I'm hearing it from you for the first time.
So how are we able to resolve the matter between them? Later, we saw a video and picture of you in your office and the two of them.
We are politicians.
Meaning that whatever the differences were.
We are politicians. We solve our problems.
Okay.
This is a family affair. The joy is that we've solved our problem. Honorable Kennedy, Japan, sees his colleagues, they exchange pleasantries.
Okay.
All is well.
All is well.
Whatever that is outstanding, we work at it. It is the flag bearer who must be projected with a united front to win the elections. I think that's our focus.
We've got 10 minutes to go, few issues, and then I can let you go because even as we are speaking, your phone won't stop ringing. Your first business on the floor in terms of getting bills pass was the one some would say that despite your spirited defense and attempt to scuttle the passage of the anti-LGBTQ, your proposed amendment did not find favor with the speaker. At the end of the day, the bill got passed. The bill was taken to third reading. What were your concerns? Would you consider the passage as a loss on your side?
No, in a democracy, you can't get everything. You win some, you gain some. I think that we've been rather too emotional as a country on this. And I'm sad for the Ghanaian politician.
Why?
The Ghanaian politician is overly thinking about how to win the next election. The Ghanaian politician, when confronted with a challenge, is unable to be firm and say, look, damn the consequences. If in doing this, I will lose out, I should lose out. You see, we are dealing with a very serious matter. Elton, I'm a private sector person. I hear and I see. I'm a practitioner of the law. I hear and I see. I'm a family man. I'm a father. I hear and I see. I don't want to pretend about this.
As a businessman, are you worried about the implications on your business? Because you probably
as a Ghanaian, I'm worried about everything. And Elton, let me explain something. I know you read a lot, but Elton, be honest with me. This bill, have you read it in full?
Not in full, I must
Thank
admit.
you very much. Why so?
Because it keeps changing.
I spoke to some of
it keeps changing.
Look, Elton, I spoke to somebody in multimedia. I said, Osimesi, I know you to be a strong advocate. Why didn't you say ABC? Say, oh, honorable. If we can one Kenya, Rebecca said we are lesbian and now we are gay. In Tino, I decided to keep quiet. I said, really? When I was expressing my own views, I have very bosom friends who were coming to me, oh, come now because of your future. I said, what future? Look, I don't mind. If the people of Efutu will say, look, these were your views, so sit at home, I will. I am yet to take certain decisions. I miss court. This is a case that I would have given it my all at the Supreme Court.
A group, some NGOs say that they may go to the Supreme Court if President Akufo-Addo signs.
No, they don't need to wait. They don't need to wait for signing or rejection. They don't need to wait. But the point is that how do we incarcerate a person because of a sexual behavior? Okay? 2, what are the conditions in our prisons? Nothing. Ultra-conservative thinking alone cannot be used to develop a nation. You need a mix of it. I am not here to promote gayism. I will never, ever say that same-sex marriage should be legalized. I will never, ever encourage anybody to engage in sexual intercourse with the same sex. However, should a person engage in this, the means of reforming, the means of drawing the person's attention to the fact that what you are doing is not part of our social values, will not be to say that go to jail. By the way, in prison, the situation there is worse.
But those who oppose your amendment says that you propose a law that have no grounds in law because there is no law that encourages non-custodial sentence.
Don't mind them. In the minimum, I know my law. In the minimum, I know my law. Those people who were saying that they don't understand what they were saying. In any event, the law that they were also urging on us to pass, they didn't have any foundation in any subsisting law. Please, we are passing a law. We are creating repercussions, consequences of your breach. And I'm saying that you have in there a fine. You have in there custodial center. I say, look, you can keep the fine. But what is the essence? The object of the bill is to ensure that Ghanaians or in Ghana, we observe proper human value and family systems. Not so?
Right.
If it is so, are we not supposed to put in the pillars that would enable the person to reform? will an incarceration be the correction that we require as a nation? No. That is why I introduced the community service. But like I said, people are not paying attention. Look, when I moved a motion for secret ballot, and Mr. Speaker actually ignored, right? On 3 occasions, I called on Mr. Speaker to exercise discretion on secret ballot. Do you know why? I was receiving a lot of text messages.
From your members?
From MPs, not my members.
Like across the board?
Especially those on the NDC side, who were in their offices and watching, who were sitting in the chamber saying that, leader, if you are able to push for secret ballot, we'll come and vote. Because people are worried. But the fear, people have been made to believe that if you dare
if you speak against it, then you are encouraging
provision, then your constituency, you will suffer. Why so? I am not worried. I had to state my position that we support you. For instance, that aspect where an adult will introduce a child, a minor, into homosexuality. I support the custodial sentence as a consequence of that action. I support it in total. All right?
The pedophile aspect.
Yes, I support it. Because you are an adult. You use something to entice a child, like I heard my professor, Moses Fuamweni, talking about some research findings in Elmina.
Exactly.
Where there's some white guys.
50 Ghana cedis, and they are inserting all manner of things into the private part of this.
That one, you go to jail. Because you are an adult. That child does not have a means. And you try to use something to entice him or her. So for those ones, we are adding them. The fact that we should say same-sex relationship is not lawful, we are adding them. But if you say that if I know you, Elton, to be a gay, and I don't go and report you, I am liable. Have you heard this before?
Well, I think
no.
Yes.
Elton, if the provision in the law, which says that if you know somebody to be one and you don't report, you are liable. What kind of law is that?
No, before because of time,
Elton,
I mean, maybe we have time.
The media in Ghana should spend time to interrogate all the provisions fully. You see, don't let us get carried away. That if you talk about it, it means that you support gayism. That is the scare, the fear that seems to have been planted in there. So great minds are
just one question for just 30 seconds. You are a lawyer. If you are given the opportunity to advise President Akufo-Addo, what position will you advise that he take?
No. I'm not going to answer you on that. I'm not going to answer you.
No, this is a personal view. The president is a human rights lawyer.
No.
You have his day. But if you are given the opportunity
I am unable to answer that.
All right. We'll have another time for this conversation. Thank you very much. The Majority Leader of Ghana's Parliament, Alexander Afenyo-Markin.